Well, Kurt, we got a chance to fly the Twister RC Police Helicam. You were the pilot on the reviews, so let's jump right into the 5x5 review, starting with model characteristics. Build as advertised, we got it as a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I didn't have to make any adjustments out of the box at all. The only thing that I noticed is that a couple of times when I first plugged in the battery, the gyro didn't initialize.
Okay.
So everything seemed fine. The green light lit. The radio system armed, and I was able to fly it, but the gyro was not armed.
Okay.
Which I've seen that before
Yeah.
from time to time on these multifunction units when you have a lot of things going on. Sometimes you just got to give it a couple of cycles.
Sure.
So always check that when you fire it up. If you're having to always drive the tail, it's not wanting to hold its headlock, its constant heading, just disconnect the battery and go through a reinitialization. And it came right up then just fine. Now, this also has a lot of stuff hanging off. It has a Flycam Eco 1, Flycam 1 Eco on there. There's a few different things happening. It may have influenced it as well, but really no adjustments. It was very solid out of the box.
Okay. Finish, we gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
Scale body, nice decaling. I mean, there's nothing to peel off. It's all really integrated into the plastic shell, so it's a really nice solid finish.
Power, 5 out of 5. Now, I noticed when we during the review when you fired it up, you could just hear the power.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it just sounded like it had a lot of power.
You'll fly the Helicam around, or the Police Helicam around at about half throttle. You're not going to have the last third of the throttle. I would only use if I was really doing a heavy descent.
Sure.
And I needed to really compress that air and take off again.
Yeah.
I'd hit close to full throttle, but I really you don't use it, and which we'll find out later on with our flight times how much of a benefit that is.
Yeah. Ground handling, which on a helicopter, for us, ground handling usually indicates the hover. Initial takeoff, we gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
Very rock solid. It was a coax and nothing funky going on. Nothing was out of balance, so it was nice and solid.
Okay. Durability, 4 out of 5.
It has the skids are flexible, but they're really thick and rugged. And beyond that, it just has a shell body on it. It has a scale shell over top of it.
I mean, with any heli, the most damage is going to take in the head. Obviously.
Absolutely. And this has. I mean, we didn't have any significant issues whatsoever. We actually had a blade strike one time up against trim in the house when I was doing some initial practice hovering. When my gyro didn't initialize and I had to bring it back down, I got a little close and touched the trim and smacked the blades pretty hard on the trim. Did a little bit of trim damage, but didn't do any blade damage. So the blades took it really well.
Yeah.
They are pivoting blades, so they broke. They just break away from the impact. You kill the power right away. It was really durable.
All right. We'll go to pilot experience. Flight is advertised 4.5 out of 5. Explain that a little bit, because they don't really put a experience level on the box.
Yeah, it's kind of inferred. I mean, it's.
I mean, I guess my question to you is: flight is advertised. Did this fly as you would have expected?
And that's what it comes down to. It becomes flight as anticipated, I guess, as opposed to advertised, which is fine. Really, the marketing on the Police Helicam centers on its functionality.
Sure.
Some of its redundancy features or durability features from like anti-overload on the ESC, things like that. As opposed to saying you can do this with it, or if you're a coaxial pilot, you can fly this easy. They really don't make any of those claims at all, but it's a coax, so you kind of hope the thing's nice and stable. Absolutely. I mean, all the functions they advertise in the box work fine, but then my inferred assumptions on its characteristics were all there. It was a rock solid, smooth, stable, pleasantly so. Unknown brands, for a brand we're not familiar with any. We have no past experience with Twister RC. It's an extremely well-built helicopter, and definitely falls within the category of all the other model class or hobby class helis that we've flown. So,
all right, flight time will be the next one. Now, I noticed we gave it a 5 out of 5. Well, that night we were flying it, I didn't realize till about almost 10 minutes into the flight that we're still on the same battery.
Yeah, I think we got about 15 minutes out of the flight.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I was flying it. I mean, we weren't just sitting there and you were stopping and making adjustments or doing like that. It was in the air almost non-stop for those 15 minutes. So, and it was always spinning. But yeah, fantastic run times. Again, the way the power balance is, you're running about half throttle, so that, and I thought 800 milliamp. 11.1. This is one of those kind of odd combination batteries from a capacity and voltage standpoint. It was a perfect combination for those motors. The way the system's laid out is perfectly balanced for performance and runtime. So fantastic flight time.
Field size, we've got small gymnasium, small park. You mentioned firing it up in the house here. It's probably not. You can if you're an experienced pilot.
It's so solid. Once
you wouldn't
I got
want me firing it up in your house.
No, I wouldn't want you firing up in my house. But I fired. Yeah, I don't have a problem firing up in my living room. And I did. I flew it. When I first pulled it out, I flew it around the living room a little bit just to make sure everything was functioning before we took it out and rolled the cameras. But yeah, it's definitely more comfortable in a small gymnasium, and with it being a little bit larger too. I did fly it outside briefly. There was a slight breeze, and it handled it a million times better because of the additional mast.
Sure.
So you can actually take outdoor shots with the Flycam 1.
Yeah. Portability, we gave it a 4 out of 5. Explain that a little bit.
It drops right in. It's a post-consumer recycled press board, like they put the fast food drinks in.
Sure.
It's the same similar product. It flops right in there. I mean, it's made to fit. You do have to fold both of the rotor blades back towards the aft of the aircraft to be able to get it to position.
Sure.
So you got to kind of be careful about it, making an intentional placement inside the box. But it does have a form-fitting, insert and a box with a carry handle, so that definitely gives it good portability.
All right, on skill level, we've put it down as beginner, intermediate. You kind of hit on it a little bit, I guess, on flight as advertised. I guess the question is, someone with limited coaxial experience. I mean, I'm doing a little better than I did before, obviously. You said I could probably comfortably fly this plane or this helicopter.
If you had room, if you were out in a garage or something to where you could do some rotational hovering and stuff and not immediately get yourself in trouble, you could handle this as fine as a beginner. Yeah.
And I think the intermediate part, just from my experience flying, I think that would come into play just to be able to react to its size and its speed.
Once it gets moving and it gets some speed behind it, you've got some mass to counter to deal with. And then, of course, you've got some of those tendencies of a coaxial. If you correct too quickly, too hard, you'll get that toilet bowl or washout going on, which you've got to then correct for again. So you really got to watch. You can't get going too fast forward, or you'll literally outrun the lift characteristics of the rotors. So that's the stuff that a beginner may accidentally get themselves involved in and not know how to recover.
All right.
But the last thing I do want to talk about is the Flycam 1 Eco. This has the built-in camera, and there's a couple things you're going to want to know. One, you do only in Australia do they ship with a SD micro card. You're going to have to pick up, if you're in any of the other countries where you're purchasing your Police Helicam, you have to pick up a little SD, a micro SD. Now I picked up this SanDisk brand. It's a 4 gig. I picked it up for 14 bucks. It's the nice thing about it too is pay attention to the speed. The big thing with these small SDs cards are there's different speed ratings on them. This is rated as a speed 4, which gives it the HC classification. That means it can handle up to high definition video. So you're going to want to have those transfer speeds to get the maximum resolution out of your Flycam 1 that's on board. Again, it does not come with any onboard memory. You're going to have to pick up a small flash drive, the small SD card, to actually use your Flycam 1. Once you get that installed, it formats and sets up the directory structure and everything's all ready to go. And then it's as simple as once you power on the helicopter, it's already powered through the BEC feed, so you don't have to connect any additional batteries or anything. This 5th channel on the radio, you click it quickly, pull it towards you and release once. The LED that shines down on the ground will change from green to red. Red means that it's filming full motion. And you're in video mode. It's that simple. So once you initialize, just click it real quick and it's up and powered. Now one thing you may have to do, or you will want to do most likely, is as you adjust the angle of the image in the bottom of the helicopter, most likely you're going to have it for forward flight. By design, the Flycam 1 is made to mount the opposite orientation. So like on the top of an aircraft, with this being on the bottom, you're going to want to rotate that image 180 degrees. That's easy. As soon as you fire it up, before you even go into recording mode, hold this 5th channel down for 10 seconds. Just keep holding it. It'll flash red and then green and then back to red. So you'll know at that point you did reverse it, or you flipped the image 180 degrees.
That's
and
a
you're
good
set,
point.
and then you're ready to go. And all the rest of your footage will be filmed in the right orientation. But other than that, it was extremely straightforward. The Flycam 1 was.
One thing I wanted to mention too that we didn't mention earlier was this little light right up here flashes blue when your battery starts.
That's your low volt indicator.
Yes.
Once your battery hits near cutoff voltage, that'll start flashing. With this, it's so efficient, you'll probably have a couple minutes of flight time left.
Well, I noticed when during the review, a couple of times when you powered up, and gained altitude, you saw it flash, but it wouldn't flash with hovering and stuff.
Correct. As soon as if you pound the thrust on it and it spools up those motors, you'll draw so much current from the battery, it'll actually cause the voltage to dip down into that cutoff range or that near cutoff range to throw off the indicator. But as soon as you back off, or the drag is reduced in the motors, that voltage will peak back up and it'll go above threshold.
Well, I'd have to say the experience with the Twister RC Police Helicam was enjoyable for us. We enjoyed reviewing it. We had a lot of fun with it flying. And I think the added element of the Flycam 1 just kind of brings the whole package together.
Yep, solid platform. And again, from a brand we weren't familiar with, it was a great experience.
Sure was.
I definitely would get behind the Planet radio system and the Twister RC platform. It's very well put together. So
I think so. I agree with you.
If you want to see the full review, you can go to our website at tobefly.com and take a look at the Twister RC Police Helicam under the review section. If you have any questions that remain unanswered, at the lower left corner of every screen on our website, there's the Ask To icon. You can click on that. It'll send us a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'm Kurt with Two Brothers Hobby.
And I'm Rob. Thanks for watching.